because if you are willing to put in the work, my friends, one of my buddies said this and it's always stuck with me, and me and my wife laugh about it. They say, Matt, you're the dumbest smart guy I know. Because really, I got good grades because I tried really hard, not because I'm just naturally some savant. And I think it's the same with business. I've succeeded because I've tried really hard.
Well, you brought up the YouTube channel. So let's dive into that because, I've been watching a lot of the content you put out, and you and I have spoken about this. This is one of your goals. It's to put out content when it comes to something as complicated as mortgages that a sixth grader could understand. Because, how many people out there go through the mortgage process for the first time, and it is like, what do you mean here? It's like trying to learn calculus. You take this approach, Matt, of trying to basically break it down for somebody so that it's really easy to understand. And that is very much by design. Tell us about the branding that you're building through the content that you're producing, and kind of what your approach has been and how it's helping your business continue to grow.
Sure. Yeah. The YouTube channel's been somewhat of a passion project, and that has been in the works since the very beginning, when somebody I had talked to or somewhere I had seen, put out content on YouTube and do it on a consistent basis. And like we've been talking about, my mentality was like, okay, I'm going to make that promise to myself. I'm going to put out a video every single week. And so I started doing Mortgage Mondays, I think in 2014, and one video per week, every Monday. I think I did it for over 2 years. So I had over 100 videos. And my idea for the channel was, I'm having conversations and the same questions getting asked. Obviously, there's not information out there in the, universe that tells people what escrow accounts are, what supplemental taxes mean, or the mortgage process. And so I started making those videos, and really there was no business play. And there's a lot of stuff that I think has contributed to my success that was really long game type stuff and impossible to measure ROI. And that's what I tell people too, when it's like, I want to do what you did, and I want to go from 0 to a really successful team in 5 years or 7 years. And I've jokingly said at real estate meetings, I've got a 45-prong approach. So here's what you got to do, because it's so many different things. It's the YouTube education, it's speaking at realtor meetings, it's the sponsoring the Little League or sponsoring the elementary school. It's speaking with this group, and it's just so many different things that there's no plug and play. And that really is probably, one of the things that gets people more than anything is, if you can pay for a program that's a magic pill, everyone will pay for it. They just want to know, what can I plug into that's $297, and it'll just be that's just not how things work. You have to commit, do things over, fail, start over, scrap it. And so, back to the YouTube channel, my whole idea was, I know this will be helpful for business, educating folks, because they're going to see the videos. The referral partners are going to look at me as the expert in the field. It's going to add value. I mean, really, when I was early and I was listening to all that Gary Vaynerchuk, it was just, I'm not going to measure ROI. I'm going to add value. I'm going to add value, add value, add value. And so that's what the YouTube channel was. And then over time, you get the dopamine drip of, thank you so much. I'm in Texas and I watched your video and it helped me understand this. Thank you, all over the country. I only lend in California, and that's still true to today. I'm only licensed in California. If you knew the amount of clients that I've coached, talked to, guided that are out of state, it's unbelievable. And that's not putting money in my bank account, but that's building, I don't know what you want to call it, just universe equity. Got
brand awareness, to say the very least. Yeah.
And so, I've continued with that. And then this year, I just realized, like, man, I really enjoy that. I really enjoy the educational piece of helping people out. Because like you said, the average person might do 2, 3, 5 mortgages in their whole lifetime, and the phone call is the same every single time. hey, Matt, I'm sorry. These questions may seem kind of silly, but last mortgage I did was 17 years ago. So I just really don't know. And I say, listen, you're an ER nurse or you're a firefighter. Of course, that's where you specialize and you're good at. You think I'm going to walk into the ER and be able to, do your job? No chance. So you came to the right person, the mortgage professional. And was it Dave Ramsey, somebody that said like heart of a teacher? That's been my approach with people. And then some more good advice from my wife when she said, keep it simple, man. Just Matt the mortgage guy. Don't have all this fancy stuff. People don't care about fancy. They want it straightforward. And then she heard me talking and, Mr. Finance degree, super smart math nerd, was explaining things on a level. And she walked in after one of my phone calls and said, honey, pretend like you're explaining it to my grandma. And that stuck with me. And that goes back, like you said, like you're explaining it to a sixth grader. Because really, I've found so much success in just telling people, I want to explain it to you in super simple terms. Nobody gets offended and says, come on, man, like talk to me like I'm an engineer. Talk to me in some fancy terms. I want to hear about yield spread and all that. Nobody says that. They want to hear it in simple terms. Here's how it works. Here's the basics. Here's the grand scheme of things, but here's the important stuff. And so that's been something that's really contributed to the success of my business, is just keeping it simple, explaining it in a way that people understand. And YouTube's just a way to do that at scale. And when you can put out a video that says the pros and cons of a cash out refinance and 85,000 people across the country watch it, it doesn't even take follow-up on my part. They just go, okay, well, he's talked about, well, if this is the scenario, maybe I want to consider doing a home equity line instead of a cash out, like that stuff. That's cool. That's a good feeling.
And it's funny that you say that, because keeping it simple, because some of the worst coaches were great players. And yeah, you were great at it, but you don't know how to break it down and simplify it for the players on the team. Or some of the best, some of the worst leaders were people that was experts at what they do, because it came, I won't say easy to them, but they had a great understanding of it and didn't know how to really break it down. So I think that's very important what you're doing as far as keeping it simple. But you mentioned something that I want to kind of slide back to, is the long game. Because you got people that's listening and saying, long game? What you mean? Matt, I want it right now. Long game? No, I am in it to win right now. So what would be your advice for some people that they're looking for the quick fix?
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I've had a lot of cool conversations lately, and I'm proud of the mortgage industry as a whole in 2020. If you talk to people, and the average person, I think in the public probably still looks at mortgage people like they're, salesmen and they're sleazy and they're doing things like that. 2004 through 2008, plenty of those stories, movies being made. And this was a conversation I had at that conference too, that I'm proud of the folks that are surviving and thriving in mortgage in 2020 are serve, add value, really good folks. And part of that is the long game. Part of that is I made videos that talked about Keep Your Home California, which was a program we had in California that helped people stay in their homes. People would say, are you affiliated with them? No. Well, do you get paid a commission? No. This is a grant program, something to keep you in your house. And by doing that and playing the long game, people that I helped with that referred me their cousin, and their cousin bought 2 years later. And, so many different examples of stuff like that, where it's just, if you seek to provide value and serve people over time, that the secret gets let out. And, if you're looking to jump into mortgage in 2020 because you heard the demand is through the roof and more people are refinancing than ever before, it's going to be very short-lived. And the 2006 through 2008, anybody who wanted to smile and dial can make $1 doing mortgage. I'm proud to say that business model has been eliminated. The people who are doing the best, and I just saw a stat that there's already 2,500 plus loan officers in the US that have funded 100 million or more. I know a lot of these, not a lot, but a handful personally, and they're doing the same stuff. They're playing the long game. They're saying, I'm not just a mortgage loan originator, I'm a debt advisor. I'm, a resource when it comes to anything to do with finance. I partner with your financial planner, and we align and put together a plan to help you win, not only with home ownership and building net worth, but providing a plan and things like that. And so that's what's winning. And, I have always looked at business that way, where I'm not worried about what November of 2020 or December 2020 are going to look like. I want to know what my business is going to look like in 2 years and 5 years.